Let's talk bottled water. You probably drink it, maybe even daily. It feels clean, safe, and convenient, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Bottled water isn't just overpriced. It's also one of the most wasteful and misleading products we use every day. Let's start with this. In 2023, the global bottled water market was valued at $303 billion, and it's projected to hit over $500 billion by 2030. That's $500 billion for something many of us already have at home for a fraction of the cost. What are you paying for, really? Because in the US, around 64% of bottled water comes from municipal sources, aka tap water. Companies filter it a bit, slap a fancy label on it, and mark it up by up to 2,000 times the cost of tap. For context, a gallon of tap water costs around $0.004. A gallon of bottled water? Around $9.50. And it's not necessarily safer. The Environmental Working Group tested 10 popular bottled water brands and found 38 different pollutants, including bacteria, fertilizer, and industrial chemicals. Meanwhile, public tap water is tested multiple times a day, under far stricter government regulation. Now, let's talk about that plastic bottle. Globally, we consume about 1 million plastic bottles every single minute. Let that sink in. In the time it takes you to watch this video, 10 million bottles will have been bought, and most of them, they'll end up in landfills, incinerators, or in the ocean. Only about 9% of plastic ever produced has been recycled. The rest either gets burned, releasing toxic fumes, or tossed, where it stays for centuries. And those that make it to the ocean, they break down into microplastics. Speaking of which, those microplastics are in the water you're drinking. A 2018 study by Orb Media found that 93% of bottled water samples from major brands contained microplastic contamination. Brands like Nestle Pure Life, Aquafina, and Evian. On average, there were 325 plastic particles per liter, mostly fragments of polypropylene, nylon, and PET, the stuff plastic bottles are made from. These tiny plastics can pass through your digestive system, or maybe not. We're still learning what long-term exposure does, but early studies link microplastics to hormone disruption, inflammation, and cellular damage. Now zoom out and look at the carbon footprint. Producing and transporting bottled water requires about 2,000 times more energy than producing tap water. The process generates around 2.5 million tons of CO2 emissions every year. That's like adding 500,000 more cars to the road annually. And there's the ethical side, too. In places like California, which has faced severe droughts, companies like Nestle have continued to extract tens of millions of gallons from natural springs for pennies and sell it back in plastic bottles. Meanwhile, locals are being told to conserve. That's not just bad business. That's a warning sign about water privatization, where corporations profit while local communities lose access. So what can you do? Start by switching to tap water. In most developed countries, it's safe, cheap, and often tastes just as good. If you're concerned about quality, get a good filter. There are tons of options. Use a reusable bottle. It cuts your plastic waste, saves you money, and sends a clear message. We don't need to trash the planet for convenience. And when you're on the go, look for refill stations. They're popping up everywhere. Airports, gyms, cafes, even parks. Bottom line, bottled water isn't about health. It's about habit. And when you look at the environmental cost, the health risks, and the sheer waste, it's just not worth it. You're not just buying water. You're buying into a system that's unsustainable, unnecessary, and frankly, unfair. So next time you're thirsty, reach for the tap. The planet will thank you. And honestly, so will your wallet.